Hey there, Bengals fans. This is the Orange and Black Insider Bengals podcast, joining you with a very special episode, a special interview. I am Anthony Cosenza, joined as usual by my comrade in arms, John Sheeran. John, I assume you're excited about who we've got on the show for this special interview today, correct?
I think anybody who follows Cincinnati football on all three levels knows our guest and is very excited to meet him, to get to know him, and let's just get this going.
Yeah, Sam Hubbard, the defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals, one of the budding stars, not only on the team but in the NFL. Local guy, obviously played at Ohio State and now is with the Cincinnati Bengals, joins us on the Orange and Black Insider, courtesy of Pepsi. Sam, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, dog days of training camp, a little bit different than what you've become accustomed to here in your first couple of years in the league. Let's kind of start there, not to start off on kind of a negative or an odd note, but kind of start a little bit on how different this offseason is, or this preseason is rather, given that there's no kind of ramp up games and what are practices like? How different is it this year as compared to your other years in the league?
Yeah, it's completely different. It's hard to describe because usually you have all those spring practices, OTAs, and then you've got training camp for weeks before you have 3-4 preseason games. But now you scratch all that and you have to balance the ramping up and protecting your players from getting injured, with at the same time preparing to play a game in here about 2 or 3 weeks, while also evaluating your roster without any games. It's pretty crazy, but I think the Bengals have done a great job. The coaching staff's done a great job of having a schedule that protects us, but at the same time gets us ready for 16 game or playoff season. Everything's different with the testing every day. It's crazy, but it's going well.
Sam, you're in your second year under defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, and the initial scheme change that we saw last year was very different than the scheme that you were in your rookie year in 2018, and really what we've seen from the Bengals in years past. Talk about just being in the same scheme for the second year in a row, and is your comfort level higher? Do you notice it with your other teammates? Is there more of a sense of cohesion with what you're doing on defense and getting out of the gate early this year?
Yeah, definitely. Being in the second year of this defense, just the communication's better, the understanding of what we're trying to accomplish is better. The techniques and different things we're working. We had a lot of kinks and stuff that we worked through the first year, and now we're really able to focus on the details and what we're trying to accomplish. I think everyone from the D-line, linebackers, and the back end just feels more comfortable and is more on the same page this time around.
Talking with Sam Hubbard, defensive lineman of the Cincinnati Bengals, joining us courtesy of Pepsi and their Who Dey fan-endorsement deal. We'll talk with Sam about that in just a couple of minutes. Our thanks to both Pepsi and Sam for him joining us on our program. A little bit further to expand on that point that John just brought up, not only is it, a comfort level being in the same system for another year, a little bit of familiarity with terminology, et cetera, but Sam, there's a lot of new faces and a lot of talented new faces on your side of the football in particular. The team overhauled the linebacker group. You've got a couple of big guys on the defensive line joining you, and then especially in Mike Daniels and DJ Reader. How much more confident is the defensive unit as a whole, not just because of the comfort level that you mentioned, but just the surrounding talent that the team has added this offseason alone?
Yeah, we got a lot of new faces and a lot of talent out there. We got some really good competitors. I played with Von Bell in college and kind of knew what we were getting in him. And, he's been everything that, I remember and more now that he's in his fifth year in the league. DJ Reader's a big-time force in the middle next to Geno Atkins. And been really impressed with these young linebackers that we brought in and our rookies overall. I think Josh Bynes is a great leader and a great person to have in that young linebacker room to show these guys the right way to do things. I just think everyone's excited to compete and earn some playing time, and we're working well together.
Something Bengals fans have noticed is this year 3 jump for some of their players, especially ones who finished their second year on sort of a high note. I think the most notable one is probably Tyler Boyd coming back a couple of years ago. You quietly had 6 sacks to end the 2019 season and are entering year 3. Do you feel like you have a sense of momentum going for you as you're entering now, like the later part of your rookie contract and continuing in the same defense?
Yeah, I feel very, very more comfortable and confident. I feel not like a rookie. I feel more like a veteran now, especially being the second year in the system. I just think that, every day I'm focusing on getting a little bit better, and really excited to put on display all the work I put in this third year, and I want to make it my best year yet.
Talking with Sam Hubbard, joining us on the Orange and Black Insider Bengals podcast and CincyJungle.com, courtesy of Pepsi. We'll hear about more what he's doing with them in just a minute. Our thanks to him for his time today. Sam, you touched on it a little bit just a second ago with the relationship with Von Bell. It's kind of been a little bit of a Buckeyes reunion these past couple of years, and we're going to share a picture here for those of you joining us on the video chat. We're going to share a picture in a minute of you guys. You kind of held a little workout session with Joe Burrow and Drew Sample and others, kind of showing not only your longtime relationships with Burrow, guys like Von Bell, et cetera, but also kind of showing your leadership and getting some of these guys together in a safe way and getting them together for workouts. I guess talk a little bit about the Ohio State reunion, how that's making you comfortable as a Cincinnati Bengals and as a Bengals player, and your comfort level in taking on a leadership role now that you're growing as a pro.
Yeah, it was, being from Cincinnati, growing up here, knowing the city so well. It was a unique challenge and opportunity for me when all these new guys, rookies, free agents, and everybody was coming to town. We had to get tested, and it was a week or so before we could even get into the facility. So all these guys were looking out for a place to work out and get ready to report. So it was really good to be able to get everyone together and put in some work together and kind of get comfortable before we even stepped in the building. And, I think just, doing little things like that and leading by example, going into my third year is really what I want to do, and be a leader of the defense.
As one of the handful of former Buckeyes on this team, who is the one guy that you've played with at Ohio State that you feel like has improved his game the most since you all left Columbus to Cincinnati?
I mean, it's pretty easy to say Joe Burrow, just because what he accomplished since he left has been amazing. It's one of the best seasons, if not the best, in college football last year. And when he left Ohio State, he was a backup, but still had all the talent and mindset and determination that he has today. And he just kept going and kept getting better every year. And now he's here, number 1 overall pick, and leader of the offense.
Sam, we usually ask this question or a variation of it of some of our special Bengals guests. I mean, we've talked a lot of X's and O's, what you're doing with yourself to, hone your craft to really get to a next level. What's something about yourself off of the field that fans don't really know about you? A hobby, a side hustle, something like that away from the game of football that you'd like fans to kind of, hey, I've got this side of me that I think's pretty interesting, whether it's a hobby or a side business, a charity you're working with, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think, good thing to talk about right now would be, how I'm partnering with Pepsi and the work that we did together to, support the Free Store Food Bank of Cincinnati. With COVID, I actually was sitting on my couch like the first week of shutdown and saw that on the news they were down to like 2 or 3 weeks left of supplies. And, I was kind of going crazy thinking of something I could do because we're just all stuck in our house. And, that campaign I was able to launch on GoFundMe. Was so excited to see all the people in the city and teammates that jumped on board with me, as well as Pepsi, who's gave a donation and also given another donation to them later this year. just stuff like that. I'm trying to, do good with the platform I've been given as a pro football player, but also as a, hometown kid playing for his hometown team.
Continue on the hometown front, I guess. Sam, I got family that went to St. X. I got family that went to Elder. All three of those family members, by the way, went to Ohio State. But I got no family that went to Moeller. Do you remember your record against those two teams in the GCL, and maybe like a favorite moment that you had against one of those two teams?
Yeah, I think I know that my junior and senior year we won state, but our one loss during the regular season of the GCL was to St. X, and I still remember it was 49-21. We lost that game, and that was kind of a turning point in our season where we came together as a team and went on a run that ended in a state championship. But we won the GCL. We went undefeated my senior year, and whenever you're playing, those is some of the best football in all of the country when you're playing in the GCL South, whether it's the Pit, playing St. X, LaSalle. It's good ball, and I have some of my best football memories playing those teams.
Well, I'm kind of the black sheep here. I am not from the Cincinnati or Ohio area, so you guys are having a little camaraderie that I'm not a part of. I'm jealous, but we're going to hear in just a second what Sam is doing and partnering with Pepsi in just a second. Before we do, Sam, just some final thoughts on how this team is looking through these first few weeks of training camp and as we get closer to the regular season. What's the overall locker room attitude like, especially with the addition of Joe Burrow? You are a solid player who is entering his prime and looking at potential stardom. A lot of players and pieces added on the defense. What's the excitement level like, optimistic level like in the locker room right now?
I think the mindset is, we haven't won any games yet, and we got a lot of work to do and a lot of taking it day by day before we celebrate anything. So we got to win some football games. So we're really putting in the work right now. Every day is a grind. We're trying to compete. Doing ones-on-ones and all that stuff in practice because we don't have the opportunity to go against another team before the first game. So the competitive level's definitely there, and I think we're just really hungry and eager to get out there and prove last year wasn't the type of team that we want to be.
Well, hopefully that is the case, and it sounds like there's a lot of room for improvement, and the Cincinnati Bengals are making great strides to do so in 2020. Well, as we mentioned a couple of times, and as Sam mentioned, he has partnered up and has been partnered up with Pepsi for a little while on a number of different endeavors, and the one that he is joining us with today is the Who Dey Fandorsement deal on behalf of Pepsi. We're going to promote that a little bit in our post and write-up that we do on Cincy Jungle with this interview. But Sam, if you would enlighten us and our listeners a little bit on what you're doing and what this endeavor specifically is about with Pepsi.
Yeah, so this season I'm partnering up with Pepsi, and due to COVID, it's a unique time, and Pepsi's really focused on giving the fans the best experience possible, and they got really creative. And they came up with the Who Dey Fandorsement deal, which is a campaign they're doing all across the league to get the fans engaged. And you can enter the challenge at madeforbengals.watching.com, and semifinals will be chosen, and then eventually a winner will be given all types of prizes, team gear, tickets, their very own billboard in Cincinnati. And, it's going to be a fun way, week by week, launching challenges to get everybody involved because, there's no tailgating and a lot of things are going to be different this year. But we still want to, celebrate the same way.
Well, that's awesome. And we appreciate you joining us on behalf of Pepsi. We're going to definitely promote this endeavor, as I mentioned, on our on the cincyjungle.com page and in our platforms how we can. So Sam, thank you for joining us. Best of luck this year. Stay healthy, and Who Dey, right?
Yeah, Who Dey. Thanks for having me.
Thanks to both you and Pepsi. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.